If you use a Xiaomi phone camera, chances are you'll often use this phone like a point-and-shoot camera. Open the camera app, tap Done, and indeed, the photos often turn out pretty good. But once you understand the settings on a Xiaomi camera, from Pro mode to special modes like Stage or Fireworks, you can get even more consistent results. The exposure or brightness can be more accurate, the colors more natural, and photos taken in low light can still be sharp. In this video, I'll talk about the common settings for the Xiaomi 15 through the Xiaomi 17 series. The details, complete with their functions and when they're best used. The auto mode or the default setting on this phone usually works fine when there's plenty of light. For example, during the day when the light is bright and the subject isn't moving. But the camera can get confused when dealing with unusual lighting. For example, from behind or backlit when we're taking pictures at a concert where the lighting is very harsh and high contrast. Or a very dark night sky, but there are stars or fireworks. So, the setting we're going to discuss this time will basically help guide the camera. Which part should be prioritized? How bright it should be, and also what kind of mood or color tone would be suitable. To be able to properly control the exposure or how bright or dark the photo is, first we have to enter Pro mode. Actually, the term Pro is a bit strange and confusing, because it should actually be called Manual mode. Because in this mode, we can control the exposure settings ourselves. Maybe because Xiaomi is afraid that beginners will mess around with these settings, end up with terrible photos, and then blame Xiaomi, so they just call it Pro. The goal is so that only experienced or professional users dare to enter this mode. It's true, you should have some basic knowledge and experience in photography first. But if you don't have that experience or knowledge yet, it's actually okay too. You can also learn gradually here. In this Pro mode, on the far left, there's EV or exposure compensation. The function of EV is actually to make the photo brighter or darker. If we increase it, the photo will become brighter. If we decrease it, it'll be darker. Increasing the EV is suitable when we're photographing subjects that reflect a lot of light, like subjects with white or metallic colors. For example, someone wearing white clothes with a white wall as the background, or a snowy landscape. If you decrease the EV, it's suitable for photographing subjects that are a bit dark and don't reflect much light, like dark or black colors. But it can also be used for subjects that are actually bright, but because their clothes in the background are black, sometimes the photo can turn out too bright. Well, this can be fixed by using a negative EV. Outdoors, if we want to take silhouette photos or make the subjects look dark, we can also lower the EV into the negative. Sometimes you need a pretty large negative adjustment. It all depends on the conditions and situation. The second important function is white balance, which is used to adjust the color. WB or white balance sometimes needs to be changed if the color is too yellow or if the room lighting has mixed colors and types. If you use auto white balance, AWB, sometimes the colors in your photos may not be consistent. If you use auto white balance, often the photos become inconsistent in color from one photo to another. The same goes for food photos. It might look more delicious and tempting if the white balance temperature is higher than usual. If it's bluish, the food will look pale and less appealing. ISO is the level of sensitivity of the camera's image sensor to light. If the ISO is low, the photo will be more detailed and sharp, but low ISO is suitable for conditions with enough light. In dark conditions, a high ISO is needed so the photo doesn't turn out dark or blurry. In my opinion, for this phone, it's safe to leave the ISO on auto, so the camera can judge for itself how much light is needed. For the brightness of the photo, we can just adjust the EV. I think it's more practical. Shutter speed controls how long the camera gathers light. The longer it is, the brighter the photo will be, and vice versa. Basically, on a phone camera, the chosen shutter speed is usually a bit slow, close to 1 second. The goal is to keep the image clear. But in certain conditions, like when we're photographing a moving subject, especially in low light, the shutter speed needs to be fast. If not, the subject will end up blurry. Sometimes it's better if we just set it manually. Set the shutter speed fast enough, like 1/100th, 1/200th, or higher, so the result can be as sharp as possible. Changing every setting in Pro Mode before we take a photo can often feel overwhelming, because it's complicated too, right? If you have to handle all the settings yourself. Especially if we're photographing different subjects and the situations are all different. Well, fortunately, in this Pro Mode, there's a hidden feature called Custom Photography Styles. Now, here there are already several custom styles that we can use. First, there's the slow shutter. Its function is to take photos in low light conditions, but the subject isn't moving, like landscape photos, for example. Things don't always need to be completely still. For example, this setting is also suitable for night photography, for taking pictures of highways, flowing water, and so on. The key is, when we use this style, we have to hold the phone very steady. Or we can put it on a tripod. If the result is too bright, you can lower the EV value. Quick snap, this one prioritizes speed. The camera will choose a shutter speed that's fast enough to capture the moment. Now, this is suitable for street photography or spontaneous moments like taking pictures of children or animals or other subjects candidly. Documentary mode serves to give photos a more natural character and to tell a story. Usually, the photos will look more authentic. It's great for daily activities, travel, and special moments. If you want to create your own preset styles, you can also save the settings that you like. We can choose from the photo styles, whether it's more authentic or vibrant, then the color filters, the lens and zoom ratio, and also several other image parameters. Besides the Pro Mode, there are also modes for specific scenarios. These can be found under the photo menu. There are options like silhouette, concert, fireworks, and flames. It's very simple. Just adjust it according to the conditions or the subject you're photographing. Even though there are a lot of settings in Pro Mode, actually you don't always have to use Pro Mode to get good results, because the quality of your photos doesn't depend only on whether you use Pro Mode or not. What's important is that you need to know when to use the right settings in different conditions and situations. So the simple step is, first, start with Auto Mode. If it's too bright or too dark, you can adjust the EV. Then, if the photo looks weird, for example too blue or too yellow, you can adjust the WB or white balance. If the subject is a bit blurry or not sharp, especially if it's moving, there are two options. You can increase the ISO or use a faster shutter speed. Fifth, if you want to capture motion effects, like motion blur from lights or water, you can use a slow shutter or long exposure. And on the other hand, if you want to freeze a very fast moment, you can use the quick snap or fast shot style. If you find a unique lighting condition, you can choose. Maybe there are presets like stage, firework, flame, or silhouette. Hopefully, with this guide, you don't have to be afraid anymore to explore the Pro Mode. For sure, this Pro Mode isn't just for professionals and experts, but also for those of you who want great photos in various conditions and situations. Thank you for watching. For those of you who like guides like this and want to watch my other tips on using Xiaomi for portrait photos, you can check out the next video. Thank you, and see you again. Bye.